Good morning, and welcome to Swahili Sunday. Have to fix that. Allow that. Okay, cool. There we go. Good morning. Welcome to Swahili Sunday. And I don't know, any of you listening from Southern California know that we're in a heat wave. It is 90, it's 9 a.m. and it's 90 degrees outside already. I went and took Indigo for a walk early to try to get her some exercise. It's just too hot. It's not cooling down enough at night even to take her to run. So this morning when I went and took her for a walk, it was in the 80s. It was already like 81 degrees, I think, and I took her out at about 7 a.m. So um, we have a few more days of this heat wave here in sunny SoCal. And it was weird, a little thunderstorm came in and rolled in for a minute, and it rained for a minute yesterday. But it's crazy. So I'm inside. I actually have all the it's a little, probably you can see it's a little dark. I didn't turn the light on. I have all the blinds drawn and most of the lights off, trying to conserve some power and also to keep it cool in here because I do have air conditioning, thankfully. I'm so grateful for that. But I'm trying to keep it cool enough to where it doesn't have to be cycling the whole time. Um, and so it is really really hot here in Southern California, and that makes it hard because I have a little Belgian Malinois that needs to go run, and I can't really take her and run. I don't know if you're hearing the thumping. I'm just probably not picking up. I gave her a little stick to chew on, a little dog stick, and she's chewing away at that. Okay, let me see. I'm going to bring up a word for today that is a word that I've used before. It's one of my favorite words in Swahili. Oh, do I not have it? I have Imani, faith, but I don't have Amani, peace. Are you kidding me? Okay, I guess I'm going to write it here so you all can see the Swahili word of the day. Luckily, we can do this in real time. Oops. Oh, I don't want to end the broadcast. I want to create the banner. And so the Swahili word for today is going to be Amani, which means peace. And okay, I want add banner. That's it. Okay, now I'll show it. There we go. Amani, peace. And I work on getting a lot of peace in my life. I've been realizing some things about myself over the last several months and how I've allowed certain things to happen in my life and certain things to cause me not to have peace. So I've been doing some things and not 100% correctly to try to get peace in my life, but just to get things out of my heart, things that have caused me pain or things that have and a lot of it's been, there's a saying that we teach people how to treat us. And I actually had a vendor I was working with, and they just kind of blew off my project. And then months went by, but then I looked at what didn't I do? I didn't follow up myself. So, and then I asked her, like, what is it about me that made it okay for you to operate that way? And we thankfully we had a conversation about it, and that really helped kind of clear up some things where I need to step up in my own space and take responsibility for my side of the street, and then do make some moves to just express what I'm feeling. There's another saying that says feelings are neither right nor wrong, they just are. And uh, the importance of just kind of getting those feelings out and addressing it and making sure that you don't let it take up space within you. Um, that's also, I've talked about on here about things about unforgiveness and stuff where people have done you wrong. I've had so many people over my lifetime do me wrong, and I don't carry any of that unforgiveness. So, not to say that when they first did something, I didn't hang on to it. I think I've shared the story here before where I was actually in relationship with somebody, and we had a business and he cut me out of the business and then did a whole bunch of other stuff along with that. And that really rocked my world. And it took me a minute to work past that. So, but I know just the same thing with, I've talked about this with my parents before. My mother was an alcoholic. She died when I was 12 years old. And I had to do the work to release that, to get rid of that, that unforgiveness towards her. Anyway, I don't know how I got off on that tangent, but just talking about how I get peace in my life, working on that, the importance of getting peace. So we're getting ready to go into the Christmas buying season, and you may be thinking, wait, this is only the beginning of September. But I went to Costco yesterday, and for those of you, by the way, good morning or good evening, depending on where you're listening from. For those of you who don't live in the U.S., Costco is kind of a warehouse store where it's a membership store where you go and they have things in bulk and you can buy. Kind of reminds me of the wholesale place, Ketchia's in Kitale, where you can go to the retail store or you can go buy things wholesale in bulk. It's that kind of a thing. But I was in there picking up a prescription for some flea medication for indigo. And that was last month. That was August. They had Christmas stuff up already in August. And as a matter of fact, the event I did last weekend at St. Bede's Church, where I was broadcasting live from, it was people were actually starting to do Christmas shopping there. So I would encourage you, as you start to think about that, to consider fair trade. I'm actually wearing my fair trade shirt, supporting Fair Trade Long Beach today. Consider shopping fair trade for your Christmas gifts. One, they will support you. You can know directly who they're supporting. I can show you photos of the ladies that do the sewing and the ladies that make the beads and the people that make the soapstone. So you know directly who those products come from. So you're supporting them and helping them become micro enterprises and be able to be sustaining and fully supporting by their own contributions. You help them do that too, but you also uh, you're giving something very unique. A lot of times, oh, okay, we're going to give this, we're going to give that. And as a matter of fact, even if you like to give socks, there are Conscious Step socks, which I carry at Fair Trade Long Beach. And then there's another brand called Fazzle that I'll probably carry some of those. And then maybe one more brand going into the Christmas season, because socks make a good stocking stuffer. But even with those, you know that those socks came from artisans in India that are making the socks, and they go to support different causes. It says the cause right on there. So you're giving a unique gift, you're giving something that supports an artisan or a cause, and your dollars are meaning something, instead of maybe buying some tchotchke thing that somebody might not appreciate. The people will know, wow, you took some real time to select this gift. So if you're local, go to Fair Trade Long Beach. You can also go to places like this. You might want to, well, I'll talk about Tea with a Purpose in a little bit, but this one, Irvine Global Village, I was accepted to be a vendor there, which is a big deal. It's one of those juried events, and what that means is that you have to submit photos of your setup, you have to submit photos of your product, you have to describe the products, where they come from. And this is a big festival that goes all day. I think it goes from like 10 till 6 or something. And it's free. There is some reserved seating, I guess you could get, but the general admission is free. There's food, there's art, there's music, there's artisan vendors. So mark that on your calendar to come hang out at Great Park in Irvine for the Irvine Global Village. But this month, if you are local, okay, so I'll say that for there, I'm going to be all over the place. And if you're not on the newsletter and want to see exactly where I'm going to be exhibiting, you can go to the website and get on the newsletter on the email list. And I'll have a calendar of events there that you can actually participate in. But if you're not local and you want to do some Christmas shopping for friends and family, book an appointment with me, and I can go to the warehouse and I can sit there with you and say, okay, who do you want to purchase for? Well, I want to purchase for my sister. Well, does she like jewelry? Does she like things for her house? What does she like? Well, she likes jewelry. She likes unique jewelry. Okay, well, how about this? How about this? What's her color scheme? I can do that with you individually and pick out things for you for your loved ones that you're wanting to purchase gifts for. Not only for Christmas holidays, but also birthdays, anniversaries, any of those. I can do that as well. So we can do that over Zoom or just FaceTime or whatever. I'll take you to the warehouse and we can pull product and see what you like and uh, pick something personal for whoever you want to be buying for. But September 17th, if you are local to Orange County or even LA, SoCal area and want to come up for it or down for it, Tea with a Purpose, September 17th. It's all over every page on Facebook. It's on the profile, it's in the group, it's on the page that there's a link to register. You have to register to get the address because it's in a private home. It's not at a public venue. So we're not giving out the address to everybody since it is in a private home. So you have to register just to get the address, and you'll be included in the email list. I only email once a week anyway. It's not like I over email and such, but so we'll be having that from 11 to 2 on September 17th. We're going to have tea and scones, iced tea and hot tea. Hopefully it'll be cooled off enough to where hot tea will be a thing. Hot tea today, no, it's going to be over 100 degrees here in Irvine, so I'm won't be having any hot tea. As a matter of fact, I'm having water with some supplementation in it. So you could sign up and register for that and come on out. Would love to see you. If you have any questions about it, just send me a message, or you can email me at eldonna@basketsandbeatskenya.com. I do want to actually share a little bit about this. I went for a referral to, his name's Dr. Lavin. He's a holistic chiropractor, and I went to him because everybody that knows anything about me knows that I've been in a lot of back pain. So much so that I haven't been able to really do more than ride my Harley around the parking lot just to keep the battery flowing and the fluids flowing through the bike. I haven't wanted to go for a long ride because, well, I did something to my shoulder last weekend when I was loading up for after the event. I started to fall and I grabbed and I pulled my shoulder, so I've got some pain in my shoulder. I shouldn't have done that. That hurt. I can lift it this way, but there's certain things I can't do without it really hurting. So I don't know what I did to myself there. That's not good. But I, talking to Dr. Lavin, he was saying that basically you can get adjusted consistently, but the pain will come back because you're not really addressing the issues. And I've been having some problem with the heat. I almost had a heat stroke. I think I was really close because my face was beet red and my heart was racing and I was sweating and I just was like, I was starting to feel lightheaded. At the last second Saturday I did by Fairtrade Long Beach. That was in May before I went to Kenya, and I'm like, what is the deal with the heat? Because I really can't take the heat anymore. I had to stop doing Bikram yoga. Bikram yoga was something that I was doing that was helping to heal my body, and I was I was getting dehydrated and lightheaded, and I couldn't do that either. And um, from what I understand, I drink water. Mostly I drink water and tea. I don't drink soda or anything like that. I like hot tea, I like iced tea, and I drink water throughout the day, but I don't, from what I understand, my body's not absorbing the nutrients. So I have a supplement in my water and a couple other supplements that I've been taking, and I'm feeling a lot better. And I'm praying that this helps with the pain because I really don't want to give up riding motorcycles. I've been riding motorcycles since 1996, and I miss being able to go out and tool around on my Harley, but there's something that you have to do when you're riding called a lifesaver. I do it in my car. You might, if you don't do this now when you're driving, it might be something to incorporate. Uh, it's also called check your blind spot, where you're driving and instead of trusting your mirrors, you look over your shoulder and do what's called a lifesaver to make sure that there's not a car in that lane. And I found both on my motorcycle and in my car when I do that, it's kind of like, wow, you were in my blind spot and I didn't see you there. I might have just like, kind of crashed and burned. That would not have been a good thing. Oops, I don't know why I hit that banner. That would not be a good thing. So, that and with my back hurting the way it is, I haven't trusted that I could be as agile on the bike and just haven't gone for a ride. There's a great place not too far from here called Ortega Highway. It's one of my favorite uh, close rides just to do some twisty, windy roads. When I was driving up to Big Sur, that's another place up PCH. It's some twisty, windy roads there, and I've ridden that before, and I love riding those kind of roads as well. But when you have pain and you have things to where you're stiff and you can't really, I want to be able to look back and make sure if I'm switching lanes that there's not a car there. Is when you're a motorcycle against a car, the car is going to win and you're going to lose. So that's not something that you want to actually do, is move over into a lane with a car. I did have a situation once. I rode from, so I went to the Toastmasters. I was actually speaking on a panel at the Toastmasters International Convention in 2018 in Vancouver. So I was like, I'm going to ride my Harley up there. And I had a friend drive the chase car because, you can't take business attire. Well, I guess you could. It just wouldn't have, I don't think I would have had the room on my bike to take all the business attire and my riding clothes and stuff. So anyway, we went up there, and on the way back, I was coming through Seattle, and Seattle's a little crazy to ride a motorcycle in. I knew that going up and coming back. I'm like, okay. So I'm in the lane. There's a truck beside me. They looked through me because they looked my way and they did not see me, but they looked my way. And the guy came over on top of me, basically. And I looked real quick, and there was a car in the other lane. Where was I going to go? Well, thankfully in California, we lane split, which I know that annoys a lot of drivers. But I split the lane. I just went in between. So I was lane splitting between the two lanes. That truck came over, didn't hit me. This car was okay. I was okay. And then I went on and up around and got myself in a lane, and I was okay, thankfully. I was so grateful because that could have that could have been a really bad news. Because if I had gone too far over in the lane, that car would have taken me out. And if I would have stayed where I was, that truck would have taken me out. So I just kind of went into the center line of both of the lane, and I split the lane. And then when I got up and I was sitting there and I was breathing, I'm like, thank you, God. Thank you for the protection. Thank you, thank you. This guy comes up and he's hanging out the window doing this because he was behind me and he probably saw it from behind and saw that that was going to be bad news. But I split the lane and avoided an accident. So I was grateful for that. Anyway, I've had some adventures on my motorcycle that I could probably spend hours just talking about all the adventures that I've had. I was actually sharing with a friend yesterday about another situation where I I did a ride from, it was 2011, 2012, 2010. I forget which year I did which ride, but because I went to Alaska once on dirt bikes. That's a whole different thing. I think that was 2010. I think 2011 was the other one. So anyway, we were riding for the Fallen Heroes Fund, raising money for the Fallen Heroes Fund, several women, and five women actually. And I rode from here in Southern California. At the time, I lived in Redondo Beach. I rode from Redondo Beach to San Antonio, San Antonio up to Milwaukee. So I went I went and picked up one of the women in Tucson, and then we rode the rest of the way to San Antonio. We joined up with the group and rode up. So yeah, but on my way, I was in Palm Springs, Palm Desert area, and I'm riding along about 70 miles an hour. And I've got a Harley 98 Softail Custom. It weighs 626 pounds. And it's a good sized bike. And I'm riding along, and there's a few cars in front of me, and I allow space between me and the whatever vehicles in front of me to have time to react. You're supposed to allow a couple car lengths, and you count it off to know how many car lengths you're behind, because you need about 3 seconds at least to react. They teach you that in the motorcycle safety course. By the way, if you ever want to learn how to ride a motorcycle, take the motorcycle safety course. I still have the brand. I don't really work it anymore. A brand called Pink Biker Chick, where I was encouraging women to get on bikes and ride, and saying that you could ride any bike you wanted with the proper training and the proper gear. But anyway, I'm riding along. Motorcycle safety course teaches you how to have reaction time, how to avoid accidents. I've had a couple of times where the training there has definitely saved me. This one, I don't think the training did any good, other than I didn't have enough time to swerve the obstacle, but I'll tell you what happened. So there was a vehicle in front of me. There was two more vehicles. The third vehicle up swerved. No, there was two vehicles in front of me. The second vehicle swerved. And I was sitting there thinking, just as I was thinking, what did they swerve around, and taking some time thinking I had to react, the vehicle in front of me ran over a tire retread, and it flipped it up. And I'm going 70 miles an hour. It lands in front of me. I go over it at 70 miles an hour. The thing smacks my knee and my gear shift. And somehow God's angels picked me up over that thing, because there's no logical way that I really went over that. I mean, I ran over the thing. It's a big tire retread from an 18-wheeler, from a lorry, a big truck. And they retread the tires instead of replacing them. So they put these retreads on, and the retreads come off, and they're left lying in the road a lot of times. And that's what happened here. And oh man, I pulled over, and I was like, is anything broken? Am I messed up? Thankfully, I wasn't. I did have to put my bike in the shop to get the gear shift adjusted, because it just didn't feel right. That thing smacked it hard, but luckily did no damage to me or my bike. I mean, my knee was a little bit sore, but thankfully it didn't. It was my left knee. It didn't do any damage beyond that. Anyway, I've had some I've had some adventures on the motorcycle, and I'd really love to be able to get back on my motorcycle again and just ride around. I would never do a long distance ride on that bike now. It's a 98 Softail Custom. It doesn't have the engine's not counterbalanced. It's not a rubber mounted engine. It's very uncomfortable to ride long distances, but for a short little jaunt over Ortega Highway or up to Idlewild or Big Bear or someplace like that, it's not bad. So I would do that, and I would like to do that again, which is why I'm now working with the holistic chiropractor. So that kind of thing is very important, to take care of yourself and make sure that you're efficiently working with your body to get the hydration and the nutrients that you need. We don't get it from our food. I mean, it takes stuff like Juice Plus and that. And I don't eat a lot of sugar. I'm pretty much off sugar. I mean, not to say that I don't ever have something with sugar in it. I don't eat a lot of things like rice and potatoes, and I love French fries. Oh my gosh. But all things in moderation, though. I'll have that every once in a while, but I don't eat those things, because that causes inflammation in my body. And since I've stopped eating that, the inflammation has reduced a lot. Then there's also, like I said, I don't drink soda and things like that. I don't eat a lot of processed food. Not that I don't ever eat any. Sometimes it's just quick, and but I work on having a cleaner diet to not have so much pain in my body. But I'm working towards having even less pain. So I'd love to be able to, if I could get my body hydrated enough again to where I could go back to Bikram yoga, that really, it's hot yoga, and I don't know if I'll ever be able to take that level of heat again, but it really healed my body. I started doing that in 2006 after I'd been in a car accident, and it really helped heal the muscles and the my spine and things like that. I haven't been able to do much of anything. Every time I start to do some kind of exercise, I my back goes out, or I pulled my shoulder now. I can't because I'm doing all these pop-ups anyway. So that's just what I wanted to share today. Again, September 17th. Make sure that if you're local, you register for Tea with a Purpose. If you just look below in the comments, if you're listening on the page or in the group or on my personal profile, it's just below in the comments. There's also an event on Facebook I've been slowly inviting people to. Would love for you to come. Like I said, it's tea, scones. We're going to have a nice charcuterie board or boards with all kinds of goodies, and you'll be able to shop. So if you want to do some Christmas shopping in a personal environment, come and sip some tea and have some snacks and connect and shop and have some fun. I'd love to see you September 17th at Tea with a Purpose. This is our first one back since COVID, and we have a lot of people coming already. It's going to be a nice intimate group. It's not going to be a huge gathering, but it's going to be good enough so you'll be able to connect and relax and have a good time. So would love to see you. And if I don't see you there, I will see you somewhere else on here on Swahili Sunday or uh, other places. If you're in SoCal or someplace where there is a heat wave right now, stay as cool as you can. Here in Irvine, they have actual cooling stations you can go to. You can even take your pets there. The pets have to be on a leash, but there's some cool places to go to get out of the heat. But I'm just staying in. I know I'll have to take Indigo out to go potties a couple of times, but I'm letting her chew on a stick, and hopefully she won't want to go out too much because as the morning goes on, it's getting hotter. I was going to go to church today. I'm going to watch online because I just don't want to be out in that heat. So have a great day, everybody. Nakupenda.